there's people in here already. Hi, Facebook. Hi, Amazing Humans. Welcome to another episode of Amazing Human Live. Today, I am joined by my friend Riaz. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah, you are. It's like Cameron Diaz with an R.
Perfect.
There
Nice.
you go.
That's a good way to put it. Riaz is a fellow Ottawa friend. We met once at a marketing conference, so that was kind of cool. But I have been following him on the social world for a while. So, yeah, we're going to get to know him today.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I want to see if I can see the comments.
Okay, cool.
There we go.
Oh, nice. You got like our names and everything down there. That's pretty
Fancy.
cool.
So let's start at the beginning. Well, there we go. Did you grow up in Ottawa or where were you born?
Yeah, so I was born in London, England, actually.
Oh, wow.
I moved to Canada with my family when I was around 3.5 or 4, somewhere in that area. And I've lived in Ottawa pretty much ever since, with like a 6-month stint in Toronto. So usually when I say I was born in England, the next question is like kind of like, where are you really from?
Yeah.
Like, you know, so my parents are born in East Africa, in Kenya and Uganda, and there was a large Indian population that had moved over from India for like better opportunities. And so certainly my ancestors are Indian, but I just like to say that I'm multicultural and Canadian, and kind of, well, not leave it at that. I like to explain who I am, and I'm proud of where I'm from. And yeah, but I just say, yeah, we're Canadian. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I've been here pretty much ever since.
That's awesome. Did you go to like university or college in Ottawa?
Yeah, I went to Algonquin College. So I took a gap year. I took a gap year after high school and moved back to England. I actually, during high school, fell in love with a girl and followed her back to Europe. And so that was quite the adventure, of course. And because I was a British citizen, I ended up staying in Europe for a year, working there, kind of learning independent life. Fortunately, I had a little bit of family out there, but I was mostly on my own. And I think it's important to, from an education standpoint, to kind of be on your own for a little bit. For me, it was really beneficial to do that before going into like the academic side, because it gave me some time to think and reflect on what I really want in life. But then I ended up going in journalism at Algonquin, and then communications at Carleton University. And funny enough, like I'm pro education, but right now there's kind of a debate on how relevant academics are now. I get that question quite a lot. But I think my opinion really is that you got to figure out kind of what your path is, and do your research and figure out what kind of job, what kind of career path you want at the end of it, right? So for me, I mean, I knew I wanted to be in journalism. It obviously didn't end up being that way, as we'll talk about shortly. But certainly those skills I've taken away and continue to use every day.
Perfect. That's really cool, actually. It's taken a little year there in between must have been pretty interesting and unique.
Pretty a bit of a trip when you're like 18 years old.
Yeah, basically by yourself. And your parents were still here in Canada?
Yeah. Well, my mom's like, I'm moving to Europe, and she's like, okay, well, if you can afford to do it, then go ahead. I didn't think she thought I would do it, but then I just came home with the ticket one day and was like, I'm out.
Wow.
So, so then I went, and I really do encourage travel when you're young, because it really is a character builder. I believe it puts you in situations that you're not really sheltered and coddled, like much of the complaints we get about our generation are. And it really allows you to kind of spread your wings and figure out who you are.
Teaches you a little bit of independence too, which is good.
Totally.
Okay, so that leads us then into, you took journalism and whatnot, and then where did you go from there?
So after university, I decided that I was like, I was gung-ho. I'm like, I'm going to move to Toronto and like be a big city guy. And what I didn't anticipate well, I guess I was immature at the time, but you don't anticipate that things might not go as planned, right? Especially when you're not a really good planner, right? So this is one of probably my weaknesses is preparing and planning for that type of situation. Despite having traveled, I'm more of like an action in the moment kind of go-getter. So I've learned to be better at planning, but I think that experience taught me that you can't just go into a situation, jump into it, and assume that things are going to go your way. You want to take more calculated risks. And so I think the lesson of going to Toronto, because I really wasn't able to, find a job. I don't think and certainly I look at myself. I never blame the market or I never blame anyone else. I always look at myself as being like, what could I do better? How could I make myself better? And looking back in retrospect, now this was probably, 8 or 9 years ago, I probably wasn't ready for it. It wasn't the right time for me. And I'm thankful that I was able to recognize that at that point and came back to Ottawa to kind of start from ground zero,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
which is good, right? And so throughout university and high school, I had always worked in call centers. I had always worked in sales, and it's funny now when I talk about it, I still get excited at the prospect of making a cold call or making a sales call or interacting with someone or providing a service or product in exchange for, value of some kind, whether it's monetary or what have you. And so I think that experience in Toronto made me realize that, maybe I don't want to be a journalist. Maybe I want to pursue something where, like, I had been in my wheelhouse throughout college and university working in all these sales jobs. And so my natural inclination was to start working in sales again at a call center. And what I understand, 90% of people hate making sales. I just loved it. I loved making cold calls. For me, it was a game. And from there, I've continued in sales ever since. And at one point I asked myself while I was working at a call center in sales, I was thinking, there must be a way that I can make more than one sale at a time. And that's kind of when I discovered marketing.
Okay.
That's kind of where I got into marketing a lot more. And from when I came back from Toronto, you kind of go through a bit of a rut. You feel like you failed when you've gone somewhere, you've attempted something and you haven't really, been able to pursue that goal. You get hit with a roadblock. You realize you're not as strong as you thought you were. So I came back and I did a lot of reflecting, a lot of reading, and I would go to the public library in downtown Ottawa quite a lot. Because, I found reading to be quite therapeutic. We're spending a lot of time online all the time. And that's actually how I got into marketing. So a lot of people may be familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk. In 2009, he came out with this book called Crush It. And a lot of people discovered Gary Vaynerchuk online. Funny enough, I actually discovered Gary Vaynerchuk at the Ottawa Public Library when his book came in, and I took it off the shelf and I was looking at the sales and marketing section because that's what I gravitated towards. And I read that book and I just kind of fell in love with the idea of it. And I'm kind of like love-hate with him throughout that 10-year journey. But, funny enough, I was at the Ottawa, like the Orleans Public Library recently, and I just took out his most recent book there. So it's kind of funny because it's come full circle in a lot of ways. But yeah, that's kind of where my journey in marketing really began, at the library, surprisingly enough.
That's actually kind of cool. And an interesting story about Gary Vee. I've heard all kinds of stories about Gary Vee. Obviously, being in this world, we're all we know who he is if you're in marketing or social media in any aspect. So yeah, that's unique. He's now coming out with what is it? Crushed It?
Yeah.
10-year anniversary or whatever of Crushing It. Now Crushed It is coming out soon.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. January 31st or something.
Yeah. Okay. I'll have to check it out.
There you go. So then marketing, and did you at that point decide to start your own thing and go into the entrepreneur world, or did you go work for someone else?
No, so I was working at this call center job, and it was a business to business call center. So we were calling on behalf of larger companies like Yellow Pages, American Express, Google. And so I was on the Yellow Pages and Google teams selling advertising. So I would cold call businesses and try and sell them on Yellow Pages advertising. And then I just kind of really fell in love with it. I fell in love with selling. It was not Yellow Pages, like it was some of them like in the actual book, but it was mostly online as well. So I was selling like these online solutions where they were getting, ranked higher for their business in their category online and stuff like that. And I really took a liking to some of the stuff I was learning, some of the concepts that I was running into. And that's when, you kind of go down the Wikipedia rabbit hole where you start reading things and opening tabs. And I would realize that, by the end of my shift, I would have like 20 tabs open, and I'd just spend, the rest of the evening kind of reading through all of that information and absorbing it. Right. And I think that's important, that when you discover something that becomes a passion, it's a real good indication that you should follow that. I know it sounds obvious, and I know we hear it all the time. But I also see a lot of people that get into sales and marketing because it's like the sexy thing nowadays to do that. And, for me, it wasn't really about that. It was just like there was a skill set and there was a passion. And, I had thought that journalism was quite sexy and trendy, so I went that way. But ultimately, I got brought towards what my true kind of calling was. Mm-hmm. So from there, funny enough, I applied at the Ottawa Citizen because I saw a job as a digital media specialist there. And of course, growing up wanting to be a journalist, I'd always wanted to work at the Ottawa Citizen. And for some of your viewers not in Ottawa, that's like our local newspaper, metropolitan newspaper. And so my dream was always to work there. And it's funny enough, I got the job. Well, it's not funny that I got the job, but it's funny enough that I ended up going there anyways, but in a different capacity, not on the journalism side, but on the advertising side rather. So I had a variety of roles there. I was a digital specialist, a sales manager, and then I was a training manager where I was designing and developing courses around sales and marketing, and then traveling to Toronto and teaching the National Post advertising sales team content, or Calgary Sun or Montreal Gazette. And certainly, I find that I learn best while teaching others. So you can imagine, traveling across the country and teaching around 200 courses over a course of a year, you really learn a lot about people, you learn a lot about yourself. And I'm quite thankful for that opportunity.
That experience definitely led you to where you are today, right? Like,
totally. Yeah.
Good building blocks for where you are now. So I met you, or found you, I guess, somehow on your YouTube videos. I don't even know how. Maybe just it came up because of the area. Who knows? But anyways,
it's marketing magic.
So I was super found you so fun to watch. Your videos are great. They're very infectious, and your energy is so good in them.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Where why YouTube? Where did that come from?
So funny enough, when I was working at the call center, I actually started a blog that was called Progressive Sales Strategies. And it was just articles about sales and business to business sales. And of course, like most people who want to start a blog or content, the fuse kind of runs out and you're just like, I can't do this anymore. Right. Yep. And so my priorities had shifted. And then I kind of felt like I was in a situation where I was traveling a lot for this job as a training manager. And I was like, you know what? I really want to start something again. I've always wanted to do video. I've always wanted to do YouTube. And I recorded 3 videos in January of 2016. So 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I sat on them for 8 months.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, I'm not confident. I'm not camera shy or anything, but just for some reason, I felt like it would be a big step to kind of put myself out there in that way. But then I was like, you know what, let's just do this. So then on my birthday, which was August 15th of 2016, I put the 3 videos out and got quite a positive response, I gotta say. So, of course, everyone's kind of like, what is this all about? And the initial excitement. And so, of course, your friends and family are going to support you. And through the course of that, I found it very therapeutic almost, where, each week I was kind of reflecting on lessons that I had learned that week and, sharing that with an audience, talking about, amazing things like you and your show talks about as well. And, just kind of imparting some wisdom from the lessons that I've learned. A goal of mine is really to help, younger generations that are coming up. I find there's almost too much criticism towards millennials and Generation Z. And it's if there's a problem, then be a part of the solution is kind of always been my answer to things. So I'm a part of why I started it and continue to do it is I want to impart whatever knowledge and wisdom I have and kind of maybe get some laughs out of it and have some fun out of it. But through the course of making those videos, I reflected and was thinking I should start something on my own. I should, I have marketing skills. I'm teaching marketing across the country. And that's kind of what led to me starting my own company, which is kind of where we met, I think, like through the YouTube and through the company and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Sandra, to answer your question, well, I found Riaz on a YouTube video and then watched a few of his videos, followed him on Facebook, yada, yada, yada. And then I was at a marketing conference called ESAX here in Ottawa. And Riaz was there as like a presenter, I guess. I don't know what you would call what
It was
capacity.
like I had like a booth there. Yeah. Like,
In a
yeah.
booth, and we met that way, and it was great. And we've been in touch ever since.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's good. I've been following your stuff as well, and it's great to see. It's great to meet other content creators. It's not easy. It's a very hard thing to do, right? So I definitely admire anyone who is up for it, and I also respect anyone who politely bows out because it's not easy, right? And it's not easy to consistently create content. No one's paying people to do content. It's just people want to, it's a hobby for me, at least. It's a hobby to keep myself fresh and keep myself out there. And it, has helped definitely to meet great, awesome people like yourself and a lot of other people that have actually turned into clients on the marketing business as well.
Yeah, totally. I wanted to talk about like your personality on YouTube, and you're saying that you were afraid to post those first 3 videos. So do you find that like it was a progression to get to where you were or where you are now, especially like how was that build as a personality and the confidence and all of that?
So it's funny because like I've always been confident in person, like one-on-one or even in a group. But there's something quite like different about being in front of a camera, especially like when you're by yourself in a room, no one's there. So there was a progression. I would definitely say there's a progression in the sense that like I was a little bit more timid in how I was acting at first. And then over time you become more yourself. So I think it's like, yeah, certainly there's an evolution in your confidence and your personality and who you are. And anyone watching this that's interested in doing YouTube or podcasts or anything where you're presenting, there's going to be an evolution in growth in who you are and what you're about. But I found like I became more myself over time, because the idea of like the camera being in front of you kind of at a certain point disappears, if that makes sense. Like at first it's like Hawthorne effect, right? Like at first you're like very aware that there's a camera. You're very aware that like people are watching, possibly thousands of people that you love or people that don't really like you that much, that have somehow connected to you online and they're like waiting for a reason to like jump all over you. But that kind of goes through your head and that can be quite paralyzing at first. And then after a while, you're like, you know what? It's fine. Let's just do this. Let's just have fun. And you have to do it for yourself. Otherwise you'll stop. Right?
Totally. Yeah. And I think you hit the nail right on the head, but the fun aspect of it too. Like if you can't laugh at yourself or just find the little whatever things funny, and you're obviously going to grow as you build up. I'm still learning so much every single day, and I put my face on the internet on a large capacity. So, but every day is something new and you never know where you're going to run into a snag and something's going to be weird or whatever. But yeah, you just got to roll with the punches and learn how to laugh it off, I suppose.
Yeah, I think people are quite obsessed with analytics, right? They love seeing how many viewers and subscribers and things like, and analytics of what they have. And I think the big lesson for me so far has been it really only takes one view to change someone else's life and to change your own life when you start creating content, right? And it's super, super important because I can honestly say that my life has changed from probably a half dozen to a dozen views of videos that people have watched of me where they felt compelled to reach out. They felt compelled to and entrusted me with very personal information that they felt I could, I can help guide them on, or they turn into a client. We form some kind of partnership. So the benefits do come if you decide that you're gonna create content for other people, but it has to come organically and it has to be authentic, right? It has to come from the heart and inside, and you have to want to do it, right? Like, doing this, I was so excited to do this, right? And if you're not excited to do it, like I got offered, pairs of tickets to the Sens game. I could have gone, out somewhere else, but like I was just all day thinking about, I can't wait to talk to Bree tonight. I can't wait to be sitting and sharing and, and some people just won't get that at first. Totally. But it's not about whether they get it or not. It's about something for yourself, right?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Thank you for taking the time for us little people.
Yeah, exactly.
So so the YouTube series is called Carving Your Niche,
Mhm.
right? Which
Mhm.
is separate from your business,
Yes.
technically.
Yes.
So carving your niche, by the way, how do you say the word niche? Is it niche or niche or?
So yeah, there's some controversy around niche or niche. In one of the videos, I kind of poke fun at it. I think it's niche because it's like a French word. So
Yeah,
like niche is, and we're
same
close to
thing.
Quebec, so I think there's some authority on that right here, right? But if you want to say niche or niche, that's fine. I say niche, and
Yeah, I
it
say
is what
niche
it is.
too.
I think ultimately, it's the meaning behind the word, which is really about like discovering your passion and what you're about and helping you to get there. I find there's a lot of people saying, yeah, go follow your passion, go follow your niche, but there's nothing like tangible on like how to do that
Yeah,
out there.
how do I get that?
Mhm.
Exactly. So how do you come to that name, carving your niche?
So kind of it's funny because when I got promoted in my previous jobs, they weren't jobs that necessarily like existed before, right? They kind of they like I just there was good timing involved in a lot of ways, and I was definitely in the right place at the right time. But you want to plant that seed for like I find like people are waiting for opportunities to fall in their lap, and you really have to plant those seeds, hundreds of seeds, and see which ones grow and water them and make them happen. And you can't sit back. And it ties into sales, it ties into YouTube, it ties into my business right now. And a lot of people look at me and say, oh, he's very lucky. And it's like, well, people don't see what happens when the camera turns off and how hard people are working behind the scenes. So for me, carving your niche is really about like, what are you doing to like make your life better? You know what I mean? And what are you doing to help other people to achieve their goals? Because the one thing I've learned is that the more you can do to help other people to achieve their goals, you'll be the benefactor of that.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like that. No, okay. So speaking of YouTube series, you said you've taken a little break. What's that about?
I've taken a TO. I've taken I've taken a timeout. So I did 70 episodes in a row, which was like week after week after week.
Well,
And it's a bit of burnout. He's starting a business. I just got married. I just bought a house. We had just found out that my wife's going to be having a baby. This was like in the summertime, and now it's like we're weeks away now that we're going to have a kid. It's my first kid. Yeah, thanks. It's pretty exciting. So back to the excuses. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just like kind of winding my way. So in November, I was like feeling like I think I'm a little burnt out. I think I just need to chill for December. So I kind of planned in early October that I was going to take December off because I was like 60, 70 weeks in a row. Like I think I can take a break here, right? So I took a break. I did this little survey in November to get feedback from some viewers, and with the idea that at the end of it, I would take a little break and then reflect on the feedback and then come back with something new or not, or continue what I'm doing and continue the evolution.
okay.
And so I took December, and then as the new year rang in, I was like, you know what, the baby's coming like pretty soon, so I don't want to like start committing back to something where then I'm just gonna like quit again on it.
Right.
So I'm really just and I'm really enjoying my little break, to be honest. Right? So things are like everyone's busy. I totally get that, but like when you have a baby coming and you have a business where there's a lot of volatility, and family comes first. Sorry guys, but family does come first for me, and so just want to make sure that baby Riaz Sidi is taken care of. But for sure, I'm going to be back probably late February, early March. And I'm sure you'll see a big marketing campaign around it. I'll make a little special intro promo video. And in the meantime, I'm just going to be doing like handheld, Facebook Lives or YouTube videos here and there. But I like to come back, and bring it to the same quality that I had before. Because, as you know, I spend like 4 or 5 hours with editing and filming and scripting the whole thing. So I just want to make sure when I do come back that I give it the right love and attention that it deserves,
Makes sense. Have you been getting messages if people are missing you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
some are Some are direct and some are like a bit indirect, you know, where it's like all of a sudden they're like liking 20 pictures of mine on Instagram, and I'm like, okay, like I haven't heard from you in a long time, you know? So yeah, a few people have been messaging me like, hey, what's going on with CYN? What's going on with Carving Your Niche? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just taking a little break. And no, it's been good though. And I think it's like everyone has to take a break. You know, we always hear like hustle, 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 and it's like that's all good and all, but you need to chill out too sometimes. And you know,
Yeah, it's right until you get really sick or something worse, right? Like you have to breathe and take your mental health break and all
totally.
that too.
Totally. And I mean, you know, like whatever size of audience is kind of irrelevant. I wouldn't call myself like an influencer or anything like that, but like, you know, there is like this epidemic of influencer burnout that is like coming around, and you know, it is happening where, you know, people are feeling the pressure and not really getting like, you know, the return on it, you know, like you can't really make a living off of it if you're not like unless you're in like a very select group of people with a certain amount of views. And like for some people it's a hobby. Like for me it's more of a hobby, so it's just about balancing another part of life, right? Like I play sports, I go to the gym, work, friends, family, you know, like there's all of these things going on. And carve out 4 or 5 hours a week is not easy. It's tough, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's a huge chunk of your time, and if it's a hobby and you're not getting any monetary value or whatever, like it's not like, and you don't want it to be a job either because it's something you enjoy doing.
This is it for me. I was like, you know what, like as soon as I stop having fun with it, I'm gonna take a break, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's kind of like what I did. Not that I wasn't having fun, but it was just very like I felt I was getting stale, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And it's like that's not really serving anyone well, you know?
Yep, I felt the exact same way. So I took a break from the Amazing Human series and we're back, and it's been so much better. So it's definitely worth it. Still have to figure out this technical thing, but we'll get there.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's good. It's good.
So I did your little YouTube video of how to find my word for 2018, and that was so helpful. And I came to the word focus, which is like a little bit cliche, but it's totally working for me.
Nice.
Do you have other videos like that that help people out?
Yeah, like I think like all of the videos are, so it's youtube.com/Riaz Sidi. I figured now is a good time to plug it since you kind of
Yeah.
led me to that. Thank you. youtube.com/Riaz Sidi. And so like all of the videos there they're like mini vignettes of like a dose of wisdom, like kind of tied in with some humor. It's kind of like how I like to explain it. But I haven't done any longer webinar type stuff like that. I think I should though, because that's really, really valuable, especially when it's like a lesson or like some type of exercise. So yeah, so maybe that's a good idea. I'll probably start doing more stuff like that actually.
Yeah, teaching people more.
Yeah, like, I've that exercise was taught to me by a complete stranger when I was at like the lowest point in my life. You know what I mean? And that really, my word, I think at the time was discipline. And this was like almost 10 years ago. And
Wow.
like I've done it every year since then, but like discipline was like, oh my God, like I have to. I mean, then since I truly believe that because that exercise is the reason that I've been able to kind of like evolve as rapidly, you know?
Yeah, it was very helpful. It was incredibly helpful for me because I've never picked a word before, and everyone was talking about it, and I was like, okay, but how? Like, there's so many words. How do you
Yeah.
just choose one? So yeah, it was super helpful for me.
And like as cheesy as this is gonna sound, it's like you don't choose the word chooses you. You know,
Yeah,
with that exercise, you know.
yeah, it's very true.
So cheesy.
What was I gonna? Sorry.
No, that's cool.
If you could offer advice for others to find their amazing, what do you think you would say?
Don't be afraid of what other people think, because the people that support you, we're going to support you anyways, and the people that aren't going to support you are the ones that aren't going to support you anyways because they're quite insecure with themselves and they're jealous that you're, you know, wanting to put yourself out there or to pursue your passions and your dreams. And that's certainly happened. You know what I mean? Like the people that are in my life now are the ones that are fully behind my goals. I'm fully behind theirs, and we can celebrate our wins together. And the ones that are have distanced themselves are doing that to avoid facing the challenges that you're going to have to go through in order to get above water, and to like, everyone hits a plateau and then you struggle, and then either you take a break or you learn a new lesson or you read a book, and then you kind of, you get to the next level and you get to the next level. And there's just some people that aren't willing to do that. And then they wonder 5 years from now, like, oh, I wonder how, how was Brie able to make the Amazing Human series so amazing, 5 years from now? Well, it's like, they're not, when you disappeared for 5 years, well, she was working week after week after week. That's kind of like,
yeah.
I'm not trying to be like a negative kind of hater or anything, but this is what I've noticed.
Yeah, I don't think that's negative at all. I think that's the truth for sure.
Some people just want it, and some people go after it, and then other people will just kind of keep doing what they're doing, and that to each their own,
Yeah. I like that. I think that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Good advice.
So yeah, I think, so what makes someone amazing? Is that what you said? Was that the question? Okay, yeah. So to me, what makes someone amazing, truly, truly amazing, is being selfless. My mother is the most selfless person that I've ever met. And then I married probably the second, well, it's a tie, let's just say, second most selfless person that I've ever met, right? And so that is very important to me. Or maybe I'm just really selfish, and so I need like someone who's selfless to like complement that. No, but I've really learned, like I've learned a lot from my wife and my mom in terms of like, and my sisters, my family, about working hard and being authentic. So I think the things that make someone amazing are authenticity, hard work, and just determination and selflessness, right? Yeah. Like, give and take. Don't just take, and be nice to people. Like there's a lot of trolling going on, and I like to have a good time. I like to laugh at myself and other people too. But it's like, let's help people out. Let's be authentic, and let's laugh at ourselves. And
Yeah, I like that. That's awesome. That's perfect.
It's a pretty strong word.
It is, yes. So my mom was like, I missed the rapid fire question. So because of Mom, we're bringing back the rapid fire round.
Honor to moms this episode.
Are you ready?
Okay, let me take a sip here. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
All right. You're a new addition to the crayon box. What color would you be?
What color would I be? Well, chocolate brown? No. I like orange. Orange is my favorite color. So some like variant of orange.
Okay. Like a bright, crazy orange, or like?
Yeah, like I would say like amazing orange.
Nice. That's perfect.
It's a good marketing play there.
Yeah, nice.
Okay.
What is the most delightful word you can think of?
Authentic.
Yeah. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
That's a good one. That's a really good one. If I could live anywhere, well, I guess it would be Ottawa, because like I live in Ottawa. So if I wanted to move somewhere else, then I probably would. Yeah. But I don't know. I really like Jamaica and Florida and like kind of down south-ish.
Yeah.
So yeah, something like that.
What's your favorite season?
Fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I say like that feeling in September. It's like the beginning of a new year. It's like when you're going to high school and elementary school, it's like September's the beginning of the year. And I feel like every September I've kind of set a new goal for myself, even though I'm like now 33 and I've been out of school for like 10 years, but it's like September is kind of like the beginning of the year for me. My birthday's in August. So it's like new year. And I just love that transition from summer to fall.
Cool. I like that reasoning for sure. And final one, what's your favorite social media platform?
Well, that is a tough one. I've been kind of on a bit of a social media diet recently. I don't think this counts. I gotta stay with Facebook. It's kind of like Facebook's my bread and butter. It's it's what I specialize in for business. I specialize in Facebook ads and using technology to really like do split testing and all of this really cool stuff. So I gotta stay true to Zucks.
To Zucks. Perfect. Okay. That's awesome.
I like LinkedIn too. I like Instagram too.
Yeah, and can't have them all. You were supposed to pick one.
Sorry, I don't like Snapchat or Twitter.
Okay.
I still use them, so follow me at Riaz Sidi.
Yeah, that actually leads right into where can people find you and learn more about you and get to know you and all the things.
Yeah, for sure. So you can visit riazsidi.com. It's riazsidi.com. That's like my business website. You can visit carvingyourniche.com. You can visit youtube.com/riazsidi, or just follow me on any of these platforms. And I don't say follow, sorry, connect. I don't like the word follow. Follows is like, like I'm leading them. But like, no, let's connect. Let's have a conversation. Let's grab a coffee. Let's do a Facebook Live. Let's hang out. Let's chill. Let's be, let's have a good time.
Right? Yeah, perfect.
Cool.
Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. It was great to talk to you.
Yeah, it was great talking to you too. Like I was kind of, because it's been a while since I've been on camera, I was kind of like, it's been a while, like, lighting and what should I wear and whatever, all that stuff, right? So no, this is really cool. I really appreciate you having me on here, and we should do this again sometime. It was
definitely
fun.
Keep being amazing, and to everyone else out there, be amazing. Bye.
Bye.